fuselage, maybe you make a little damage somewhere to the part of the helicopter, and again, maybe of course you could throw over the stretcher your patient, but you can damage the helicopter, and this again is a very expensive thing and quickly. So be careful when you work with some parts on the helicopter. We talked about using the safety belts all the time, use your headsets, use your helmets. The last picture here is an approach, and you see the co-pilot, in this case he opens the door. So this is also a typical procedure, I would say, in Europe. The co-pilot is usually the paramedico, because we fly with one pilot normally, but then the paramedico is helping the pilot, so he's working as a kind of co-pilot, and during the landing he opens the door, and he is looking outside, and he watches for loose objects, but he looks also for obstacles, for trees, and to be free of any problem during the landing process. So it's a team effort to do this together. Important is also the aspect of communication. Again, team spirit. So you can only work well if you have a complete team spirit. The first thing is you need clear communication, of course, with your alarm center. You must have clear rules who is doing what. Usually the pilot will talk to the different air traffic control, to the tower. He will talk to his aviation organizations. The co-pilot probably will more talk to the police, to the fire brigade, to make sure to coordinate the landing. Where's the police? Do they secure the highway? And the medical team maybe will talk to the hospital or maybe to the ground ambulance car. So here you must have clear rules. Of course, especially during the takeoff and landing, you must have communication limited to the minimum. Because the pilot often needs to get clearance from the tower. You need to talk maybe here to Mexico City Airport Tower. During the landing, the same. So at this time, you don't want to talk about other things. You let the pilot do his communication. because it's also sterile communication during the takeoff and landing procedure. Okay. And also during the landing, make clear communication. So for example, the pilot, if he's quiet, nobody knows his intention and nobody knows where to watch. But the pilot could say, okay, I will land on the street, I will land here on the right-hand side of the accident. I will land 50 meters on this field beside the street. So make clear indications that everybody knows exactly what is intention. And the same is for the paramedico, medico, to give clear feedback, there's some traffic somewhere. Watch around, and if there's another helicopter approaching, gives information to everybody, there's a traffic at 10 o'clock position. So clear communication is important. For this also, in some helicopters, of course, we have a radio and intercommunication system even in the cabin. So here the doctor can select to which channel he wants to talk to ambulance car or to police. Okay, last 2-3 slides about flight. On flight situation. Of course, some guidelines in case of emergency. As we said, important is they can't follow pilot instructions. Because most of the emergencies can be managed nowadays by the helicopter. You can have an engine failure, but with twin-engine helicopters, they are so safe, this is not a big issue. You can continue to fly with one engine and make a running landing somewhere. So most of the problems are manageable and easy to manageable, but in case it's really a difficult situation, of course, follow what the pilot is saying. Secure the cargo when you have no loose equipment. Switch off the oxygen for your HEPS operation. For this, you should have access inside the cabin to shut off also the oxygen. That's quite important, of course, and remain inside the helicopter until everything is done. You see some position here that you are using depending where you're flying. You have also some equipment that you need to know in case the pilot is not capable after the crash, maybe to activate such system here. You should know where you can put off the battery, the electrical system, maybe even how to shut down the engines and how to use the rotor brake. Okay, and the last slide. The last slide is just a summary of what I said yesterday. We as Airbus, we want to give you the safest helicopters possible for your operation. You have a difficult operation, you need to work all close together to have no incident, but we help you from our side and we help you with design aspects, like I said several times, a very high rotor. So actually 2.80 meters is higher on the 135, you see later. So this is already safe from this side. We have also the tail rotor safe. We have some years ago, even the paramedic was running in the tail rotor of his own helicopter on the EC-145, a conventional tail rotor system, which is high, but it's not always too high, depending where you land. So this Fennesmore system is the most safe in the industry. So it's good to have this when you do your HEPS operation. It's good also to have a very powerful helicopter. Here you operate in very high altitudes, so the pilot is always at the limit of his power, and this is always not easy for the operation. So now we have very powerful helicopters. You see a picture here of Latin America at 3,000 meters. So very powerful in safety. And then we have the visibility, and you see here our helicopters, we have a lot of glass, a lot of visibility for everybody to watch outside what's going on, to watch for obstacles, and we give you also the latest cockpit concept, the avionics concept, where the pilot can have a lot of safety features. There's no pilot here, so I don't want to go into all the details, but you see everything on one line. More or less, you see the cockpit here in the center, the pilot is only to look to one line and he can get all this information that he needs. And this is much different than many years ago. And you see training, there's a simulator here at the bottom, so we can offer the simulator all in many countries in our headquarters for continuous training of the system. And with this comment, the only thing I can do is wish you, last slide, wish you always viaja siempre seguro, always safe flight and safe operation. Thank you very much.